Time for the Saturday headlines in our second intermission with Elliotte Friedman, who reported, I think, a month ago this was all going to happen. But here's Vancouver GM Patrik Allvin on the why and the how JT Miller's ultimately traded away.
We tried and we talked over the last 2 months to see if there was a common ground moving forward here in Vancouver, but it made it clear to me that this was the best interest for JT Miller and the Vancouver Canucks. And with JT having a full move there, he was willing to work with us, and it became clear that New York Rangers was the best option for the return for Vancouver Canucks.
That is from about a 5-minute interview that we'll run in the second game, Detroit, Calgary this evening. We'll get into Pettersson and all that stuff, but you go ahead. What do you think?
Well, I think if you go, I think everybody, as we've talked about in Vancouver, kind of hoped that after last year that none of this would be an issue. And I heard that earlier in the year, the Canucks went on an East Coast swing and included going through Florida. And I think at one point there, a small group of players got together and asked, can you guys solve this? And obviously it stayed rocky. I think there was hope after Miller came back from his leave that maybe things would get better. But as Allvin said there, even Miller for himself had kind of said maybe it's just, he didn't specifically ask for a trade. I think the wording there is important, but everybody knew that it was just time, right? And I think the Rangers were the most motivated buyer, and that was the team that he really wanted to go to. So everybody worked it out for that way. Now, other things to deal with in the aftermath of this, number one, the noise around Pettersson can calm down too. I think the Canucks are determined to see how it goes for him now. I don't think they want any noise around him. They just want him to play and see if this helps settle him down. And also the two newest Canucks in terms of who need extensions, Marcus Pettersson and Drew O'Connor. Don't forget, Rutherford and Allvin had big impacts in them getting to Pittsburgh in the first place, and they will be eager to sign him, and sign both of them. And I think the two other players who might get seen try for extensions sooner, the two guys that were acquired today by the Dallas Stars. The Stars made a deal with San Jose. They brought in both Cody Ceci and Michael Granlund. Jim Nill had said that he will try to talk to both of those guys about staying. First-round pick, and right now that's a fourth-round pick, and it will become a third if Dallas reaches the Stanley Cup final. Evidently, Ron, much to the happiness of Edmonton, Vancouver, and Calgary viewers, we are predicting the Stars are going to the final.
Okay. Jim Rutherford, Elliott's been involved in 216 deals in his 30 years in the National Hockey League. It's no surprise to see him pull the trigger early with Patrik Allvin, of course. March 7th is the deadline. We're a little over a month away. Are we seeing any trends in the deals? Because lots of them.
You know what? I think it's one thing we're seeing is that for rentals, it's a first rounder. Like both these deals for rental players, and again, they might get extended, but first rounders included. Now, our draft guys, Sam Cosentino and Jason Bukala, aren't crazy about this draft, so that's why maybe teams are willing to do it. But it's right now, it's said, first rounders got to go.
Craig Conroy will also join us in the second game.
You're busy.
Yeah, well, you're going to interview him. We'll all interview him. But he's got hot commodities, so what's happening there? Yeah,
so one of the most interesting things about the Calgary Flames, and they made a big deal this week getting Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, but the Flames have told teams that Rasmus Andersson, Nazem Kadri, and Mackenzie Weegar are not available. And I know a lot of Calgary fans, like Weegar has a contract, Kadri has a contract, but a number of teams have asked about him. Andersson, as you know, is heading into the final year of his deal, and the Flames are getting more and more confident they're going to be able to keep him. But they have told specifically the teams who've asked about those three players, we're keeping them, we're in the race, and they're important to us.
The salary cap, you reported it's going from 88 now up to the 95.5 next year. That's a lock. And then it was supposed to go to 104 and 113.5. So where are we?
So that was announced yesterday to a lot of surprise. I think a lot of teams didn't know about it as much as a lot of players did. The players, I think, had been told the night before it was going to happen. The teams were told on Friday morning. But the 95.5 next year is set. According to the memo that was sent out, that can't be changed. But, it's a weird time in the world right now. But,
it is?
Yeah. But right now, there's a lot of teams and players beginning to think that those second and third year numbers might go even higher. As long as nothing really strange happens, they think that those numbers might turn out to be a tiny bit low.